part of the WHPC Sports Talk family. Here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we talk sports. I'm Rob Leonard. Tim Leonard is on the phone today. Tim, brother, what is your Twitter account?
At Real Tim Leonard.
The Breakfast Club.
Don't you forget about me.
Padded Shoulders and Golden Girls. The Terminator.
I'll be back.
To Ferris Bueller. Take a trip back to the future.
Ron Stevens.
Saturday afternoons at 2 for 2 totally awesome hours of the decade of Madonna, Michael Jackson, and Whitney.
Essential 80s.
On the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's not Christmas time yet. It's not even Halloween yet. What are you talking about?
It's back to school time.
That's not a reason to be celebrating, and definitely not a reason to be playing Christmas music. Can we turn this off?
Okay, fine. But it is a reason to celebrate because with Back to School comes the 24th annual Back to School Blood Drive at Nassau Community College. In the past, our community has been able to provide a significant number of blood units per year to help meet the needs of the Long Island region. So come on down to the multi-purpose room inside the College Center building on the campus of Nassau Community College on Thursday, September 13th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and do your part to maintain a safe and secure blood supply.
Blood donors must be at least 17 years old and in good health. For more information, call 516-572-7401 or visit ncc.edu.
We're back here on From the Press Box, part of the WHPC Sports Talk family. Here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., streaming on the iHeartRadio app. And don't forget to go to our website, nccradio.org. Find out about some of the fine programming we have here at the station. We have different shows, but it all connects. So if you want to find out about our fine programming, please go nccradio.org. By the way, if you have a preset in your car, 90.3 FM WHPC is an easy thing to set on your preset, so please do that. Brother, there was this past weekend was the 39th, it's the wrong term, but the 39th year since Thurman Munson died in that horrible plane crash. And
Correct.
There's some seemingly new documents coming up after 39 years. What's that about?
Well, there was a really nice, but a well reported article by David Waldstein of the New York Times, who is one of my favorite sports writers. This guy, he does the job the way it should be done. But he wrote about a lawyer, a local lawyer who used his knowledge as far as acquiring documents, and they were able to kind of piece together a little bit more as far as what happened on the plane crash and how Munson's last moments of his life transpired. There was a gentleman by the name of David Hall who was actually in the plane with Munson when it crashed.
Right.
And another man by the name of Jerry Anderson also was a passenger in the plane. And those guys were able to survive the crash. And the real reason that Munson, who obviously was the Yankees catcher back in the 70s and the early 80s, but the reason that Munson didn't survive the crash is because he'd broken his neck in the crash and he was paralyzed. So even if Munson had survived, he was done as a baseball player at that moment.
So basically, let's say he didn't get the broken neck, there's a chance that maybe if he could have lived if the other guys lived.
Well, the other two men, they lived, but they were trying to save Munson. The reason that all of this came out is because this lawyer got the testimony from the lawsuit. There were 2 lawsuits filed. The Yankees filed a lawsuit. Both of them were filed against Cessna, the builders of the plane that Munson was flying.
Right.
But the Hall and Anderson tried to get Munson out of the plane while it was on fire, but because Munson was paralyzed and he was trapped in a seat by the seatbelt, they were unable to drag his body out of the plane.
Oh wow!
And you know, it's said in the testimony that Munson's last words were to Hall, and he said, "Help me, Dave."
Mm.
And you know, for somebody who like me and people that are my age and our age who grew up a Yankee fan and Munson was my favorite player, to read that and to see that that's Munson's last words.
Sure.
It's you know, it really is a punch in the stomach. But these depositions were uncovered by a lawyer by the name of Alan Blutstein, who he's another guy who grew up on Long Island and was like me a very big Munson fan. But this guy has done a lot of work with the EPA and
Right.
has done a lot of Freedom of Information Act work, which, you know, journalists know that term. I don't know how much normal citizens know that term, but it's a way of getting documents, because you have to file a lot of paperwork and documents that the powers that be don't necessarily want you to see. This one, though, he didn't have to even do that. I mean, it was just a matter, because the depositions are public knowledge.
Right.
But in the case was in Canton, Ohio, and for some reason these depositions were in Chicago.
Okay.
So
well,
they had to find them. That was the thing. And this guy probably spent about $1,000 also as far as filing fees and I guess to have the documents shipped to him, and you know, all of this stuff. This guy was just very diligent, and you know, he wanted to find out a little bit more as far as, all right, what happened to Munson, what happened to my favorite player. And there's a lot of testimony from Yankees of the day. Billy Martin testified, Reggie Jackson, Gene Monahan, the trainer, Greg Nettles. There was testimony from pretty much every Yankee who was part of the team back then, because you know, Diana Munson, like I said, sued Cessna. Her claim was that Thurman Munson was not properly trained to fly a jet. He'd flown a prop plane before that and was said to be a very good pilot, but going from a prop plane to a jet is a massive step, and I don't know that Thurman Munson necessarily recognized or was trained as far as how much of a difference it was.
Right.
And that was part of what led to his plane crash.
Yeah, that was a sad day, and I know for a fact that huge Munson fan you are, and you had that. I remember that big in the bedroom, that big poster of Munson. It's
Munson was my guy. I mean,
it's the famous picture. It was from SI, and it's he's swinging the bat. It was a great swing, Munson swing, that herky jerky swing he had that always seemed to get the ball. So
very clutch.
Yeah, very clutch. So. And you look at Munson, next year it's 40 years, and, like you said, there is a generation that he was the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I still believe he should be in the Hall of Fame. So whether that ever happens, I don't know, but I think he should be.
It probably won't. He probably won't happen, but I agree. I mean, we've said this on the show before. I one of the things that I like to look at as a Hall of Fame qualification is. And it is one of the judgments is, was the player the best of his generation, and for me it's Munson and Fisk.
Yep. For
catchers in that generation, and I'll challenge anybody, name somebody else who was the best player at his position in the generation. Nobody else is going to name any other catcher besides the two of those guys.
That's true. Just as a thing here, the Mets. They're just the Mets.
I'm not sure what that means, but it also has a lot of meaning the way you said it.
Well, if you're a Met fan, you know exactly what I just said. But one of the things I'm thinking about is that Jacob deGrom.
Oh, the Grommer.
He is the best pitcher right now in the National League.
He's the best pitcher in baseball.
And we'll say baseball. But his record is horrible. Could he maybe win the Cy Young with this horrible record?
No.
That's so sad because he has the numbers otherwise.
He'll get votes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he won't get consideration, but there would have to be a majority of voters who are sabermetric types and stat types, as opposed to, like guys who don't care about wins. Like Jacob deGrom is 5-7 right now. That's his record, but he's going to need voters to look at the fact that he has 173 strikeouts in 146 innings.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're going to look at the ERA and see that it's 1.85, which is absurdly low. And then his ratio, the hits walks plus hits divided by innings pitched, is under 1 at 0.97, which is outstanding. But does all of that add up to Jacob deGrom winning the Cy Young Award? I can't say it, and I can't look at it and say, well, yeah, that's going to happen, because I don't think that there are enough voters who would see it that way.
Right.
And they would just say, all right, well, you know what? Jacob deGrom has just been he's just been a very good pitcher on a very bad team. And he's gotten terrible run support. So, even with a little bit of run support, deGrom could be very easily something like 10-4 right now.
I mean, he's supplying his own RBIs and stuff because the Mets aren't.
I think we had during the week where in his last 2 starts, deGrom has driven in the only runs the Mets have gotten, and Zach Wheeler the other day. The Mets won the game. He started 1-0. Wheeler was the guy with the RBI.
Right.
When you're talking about the Mets, it's like if you have to say if the pitchers don't hit, we're not going to win. You got a real problem.
Definitely.
So I'm looking real quick here as far as numbers and pitchers. Strikeouts. There are a couple guys in the National League with 200 strikeouts. There are a handful of guys who have better than deGrom. Max Scherzer has 200 strikeouts. Well, actually, most of the other guys are in the American League. Patrick Corbin from the Diamondbacks is also having a very good season. But to be honest, if I was voting, I would vote deGrom over Corbin. But that's what we're looking at. I mean, right now, Max Scherzer is having another outstanding season. But he's 15-5.
Right.
He's got a 2.33 ERA, which is, I don't want to say it's considerably higher than deGrom, but it's a decent amount higher. It's almost half a run higher. But he's got 210 strikeouts. His ratio is actually lower than deGrom's. So, and his batting average against is 183, whereas opposing hitters are batting 205 against deGrom.
Well, yeah, it's not much of a difference.
Wins and losses don't really matter as much to baseball writers, and as
you can't be 5-7, I guess, win the Cy Young.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as time goes on, like Felix Hernandez, I don't remember how many years ago it was, but Felix Hernandez won the Cy Young Award with something like a 13-12 record, because his peripheral numbers were outstanding, and he pitched obviously much better than what his record was. And because of that, he was rewarded. Now, that being said, that year, there wasn't really an outstanding candidate next to him. Like you could look at Scherzer and say, hey, he's been phenomenal. And not to mention, he's also the reigning Cy Young Award winner in the National League. So from that standpoint, I think he would have a much better chance of getting the Cy Young Award again than, like I said, I'm sure deGrom will get votes. And I'd be surprised if he didn't finish in the top 3. But right now, if I had to say who's your National League Cy Young Award winner, I got to go with Max Scherzer.
Oh.
And deGrom probably will wind up being second. It would help if he had a winning record, but with the Mets this season, who knows if that's going to happen?
Yeah, of course. Steven Matz is now on the DL. Not that it matters at this point.
Well, I mean, it does matter because you'd like to see Steven Matz go through a